This is Rob Tubbett for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. Delighted to be joined here today by Virgil Hunter. We're here at the Canelo-Kovalev undercard press conference. How are you, Virgil? Nice to see you looking so well.
Good seeing you. I'm doing very well.
You look well. You look well. Full of life, full of energy.
Very full of life, very full of energy. Thankful to be alive, to live as long as I have.
Talk to me about your fighter on the card. You're with Bakram. I can't pronounce his surname. I don't know if you can help me out with that.
Really, I can't pronounce it either, so I don't even try. But this is our first fight together. He's a great prospect. Glad to have him, a hard worker. He's got a future in the sport. So we'll see how it goes Saturday night.
How's it been having him join your stable of fighters? It seems like your stable's continually growing. You've got fighters coming in and out of the gym. How's he settled in with you in the Bay Area?
He's been a big asset. He's been a credit to the team. The team likes him and everything. He's part of the atmosphere and part of the positive environment. So he's a great addition to the team.
Just before we come on to Saturday night and Canelo-Kovalev, of course, you're wearing a Team Cissokho tracksuit. Suleiman Cissokho, somebody who I've met before in the past. How is Suleiman? Obviously, he's going to be boxing on the Anthony Joshua and Ruiz undercard.
Correct. Suleiman is in the Bay Area at this point training. He's doing very well, and he's getting ready for December 7th. And I look forward for great things from him, a great performance from him.
Suleiman was somebody who enjoyed a tremendous amount of success as an amateur. You're very much a quote-unquote pro trainer. How has he made that transition?
He's slowly making the transition. He has a little ways to go right now. He's still more using his legs more. Still has a little bit of amateur style left in him. But I look forward to make the complete transition in his next 3 or 4 fights. So,
Saturday night, Canelo Alvarez jumps up 2 weight classes to 175 pounds to face somebody that you know very well, Sergey Kovalev. Talk to me about the fight.
It's an interesting fight. I never saw the fight coming a few months ago, but it's an interesting fight. I guess the question is, did Canelo pick Kovalev at the right time? And does Kovalev have enough left? He seems to have his in and out legs, which could be problems for Canelo. Canelo had problems with Golovkin's jab, so I'm sure he'll have to deal with Kovalev's jab. And with Buddy in Kovalev's corner, I'm sure he'll have the brains that he needs to figure this fight out. On the other end, youth could prevail. Make it simple as that. Can Canelo cut the ring off, or can he walk Kovalev down? I think that's what it boils down to.
It seems to me that a lot of the talk in the build-up to this fight has been about Canelo working the body, which is something that we saw Andre Ward do with great success in both fights against Sergey Kovalev. Just how pivotal is that for Canelo this Saturday?
Well, that would be the most logical thing that people would think about, that Canelo's a great body puncher. But if you really stop and think about it, he's only hurt Rocky Fielding to the body and really put on a body punching demonstration. He couldn't do it with Lara. He couldn't do it even with Golovkin. So it remains to be seen if he can actually be effective and get in there and pay that price to get in there to get to the body. But I give him his due. If he's going to be effective, he's going to have to go to the body. So time will tell. It's a stretch, if you ask me, because he's got to give up a lot of reach. He's got to give up height. He's got to give up distance, and he's got to give up position. So if he can pull it off, kudos to him.
Now, we saw, particularly in the first fight with Andre Ward, Sergey Kovalev showcase his boxing skills and showcase the fact that he's not just a puncher. Do you think his boxing skills may be slightly underrated going into this fight against Canelo?
I think very much underrated. He's a superb boxer, and he demonstrated that in the second, the guy from Canada in that fight, Alvarez fight. And he did it in the yard fight after a rocky 8 rounds. He showed that he still has that boxing ability and is very underrated. So that's something that they're going to have to consider, and it's something they're going to have to deal with.
Many people point to particularly the second fight with Andre Ward and signal that as really the beginning of the deterioration for Sergey Kovalev. Do you agree with that? Do you feel he's a different fighter now than what you came up against with Andre?
I think it had a psychological effect on him because he saw himself as invincible. And the way that he went out in the fight, he knows he quit. He knows that it wasn't low blows. He knows that he gave in and that he quit. So I think he had a lot of psychological factors to overcome. And then the fact that they gave him easy fights to regain the title, I think that hurt him in a way. But to me, he appears to be fully back. I think the addition of Buddy McGirt has really elevated him back to where he needs to be at this stage of his career. And like I said, he hasn't lost his legs, and that's crucial. And he's boxing. He's not looking for the knockout. And he's shown that he has the stamina to go the distance. in a tough fight, and he can recover and regroup. So I think right now where he is, he's overcome a lot of factors. Just winning the second Alvarez fight was good for him.
You mentioned Buddy McGirt. I sat down with Buddy yesterday and he said that he believes that Sergey's boxing ability is underrated, and what he's really tried to do is to go back to the basics with Sergey. Just how big of an influence from what you've seen is Buddy McGirt on Sergey Kovalev?
Well, a big influence. Overcoming that Alvarez fight was a big thing, and he overcame it with confidence, he overcame it with skill, so that has to be a real boost for him. So taking that confidence into his next few fights is crucial for him. It showed in his last fight. Even though he had a rocky 8th round, he went right back to the basics and he pulled the fight out. So knowing that he has that available to him and that he has that mindset intact, it's going to make him formidable to deal with.
How do you anticipate the extra weight affecting Canelo, not only himself but also coming up against the bigger fighter in Sergey Kovalev?
Well, logic would say it's going to affect him some to carry that amount of weight. He's never fought at that amount of weight. I don't know what he's going to weigh when he goes in, but to carry that extra weight around, you do feel it. I could go back to Khan putting on weight when he fought Canelo. It will slow you down, particularly if the pace is quicker than what you've been accustomed to sparring in the gym and things like that. So whether or not it'd be a factor with him, how he put on the weight, or if he was killing himself to make 160, the difference between 168 and 175 is only 8 pounds, 9 pounds. So he might carry it comfortably. He doesn't have to starve himself. He doesn't have to make a weight, so he should maintain his strength, and maintain his strength is maintaining stamina. So it could work to his favor.
Just want to grab your opinion on a few other things while I've got you here. You're not somebody I come across an awful lot, which is a crying shame in my opinion. Somebody I know that you worked with for a brief period of time, Chris Eubank Jr. has just announced his fight with Korobov. What do you think to that fight? A lot of people think that's a pretty tricky fight for Chris.
It is. Korobov has shown that he has a lot of tricks up his sleeve, but I think Eubank should prevail with his work ethic and his stamina and his volume punching. I think that he has the style that could throw Korobov off. So I favor Eubank in the fight.
What was it like working with Chris? As I understand it, you worked with him for quite a short period of time. Why was that?
It was a great interaction. He's a great kid. He came and he just wanted to learn a few things. I did the best that I could to help him and answer some of his questions and work on some of the things he was concerned with. It was a great 2 weeks.
And just finally, the name that's always kind of going to be linked with Sergey Kovalev, I've mentioned his name several times here, Mr. Andre Ward, somebody you know better than anybody. He's actually been linked with potentially facing the winner of this fight. Can you clarify that? Is Andre Ward even thinking about coming out of retirement?
Well, Andre is comfortable in what he's doing right now. He's happily retired. He's got a ringside seat announcing. You got to have a second career after boxing, and he's working on that right now. So it's not like the call is strong to him and anything like that, or where he feels like he got to prove himself to come back. But we'll see.
I spoke to Andre when he was over in London for the Lomachenko-Campbell fight, and we spoke about kind of your grand plan of potentially one day moving him up to heavyweight. What happened with that? Because as I understand it, that was a realistic proposition at one point.
Well, he retired. So it went out the window, as simple as that. He retired, it went out the window, so we had to scrap the plan. And it was a plan we just tossed around if he'd have stayed in the game. But he retired, so it's no longer even in the thoughts.
Okay, well, Virgil Hunter, thanks very much for speaking to Boxing Social. Real pleasure. And as I said, nice to see you looking so well, and look forward to catching up with you. If not before, I'll see you in Saudi Arabia.
Will do. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Virgil.